Yeah, it still looks the same. That cold plant is not very pleasant to look at. It worked fine in the beginning. We had no forms, nothing from the awesome sync for further build geometries. You know the location, it's halfway in between the startup factory and the other build area in Dune Desert. And this wonderful little crater. I think about a replace it with something from the Refined Power mod. So meanwhile I got the MK2 boilers, that looks very promising. That really should do the show. We're still having the generators here. They're all coming together. I really hope I should be able to do something with it and then also reshuffle a little bit the coal extraction, make it look a bit better. And of course these disastrous stairs need to be replaced. First of all, it all need to be cleaned. See on the left I had my awesome sink where I dropped in all the stuff that I removed. So it's all cleaned. And that awesome sink setup really worked. Quite a lot of storage to throw stuff in. It was quite a bit. But it works remarkably quick. So it's a fast job. The energy line still needs to be done, which is attached there on the road. The road itself needs to become a bit nicer. It is just the very first surface. Everything below the road is missing. I usually do that at a later stage in the game, the details of the road. And yeah, that is a setup with a Refined Power mod. I have no water from below coming in. Bit more structured. Water tower concept as always. Means water storage a bit higher than those locations where it has to be delivered. Gets delivered to the boilers. That's all fine. They give us a nice little output. Coal is connected. Steam release in place. Yeah, it's running nicely. And it's quite interesting to see how space efficient this can be placed compared to the super large coal plants. Yeah, that's the MK1. Let's go for the MK2. And I need computers. The old drama. I still haven't done the computers. So I reckon I have to do plastic first, and then the computer, and then all the follow-up. So at least the milestone for the computers done. I can create the computers now on the at the crafting bench. Bit tedious, but it works. And with such, the MK2 sources can be placed. That works. Generator. All fine. Then all the stuff needs to be connected. Yeah, this looks all good. Facade is done. And again with the UpSideDown mod I did the roof. With the decoration mod some plants, and also below where I had to remove some trees, I planted some more trees via the decoration mod. And with that I think it looks quite natural, surprisingly good. Because first I was concerned because the road is so very high in the air in this little crater. Of course I can't do loops down and up again, and my tractors have to drive in an as even as possible direction of the road. But with that, with these columns and that setup, I think it fits in quite natural. I'm very happy with the appearance. And it looks like it's designed for this area. So in the morning it looks even better. You barely notice that there's something in the crater. You really have to look closer on the blue walls. So I really enjoy having built something that so naturally fits in its environment and helps to make sense to the road being high in the air. Of course, again, 2 loading stations. As always, first I'm unloading everything, then mixing in what I want. Here I'm mixing in some coal, because the tractors are driving with coals. On the next station, loads the whole shebang. Yeah, a few little extra trees below where the decoration mod makes it look all more natural. I try to keep as many trees in that area as possible, but yeah, when you build, you frack some stuff away. The old coal platform that had been there before, you use some stuff up. So it's nice with the decoration mod to bring nature back. Even from the side, quite natural. Like it. No, next one. Mentioned already. I have to go for computers, and the first thing before the computers is I need more plastic. Plastic at all. And I really have been falling in love with this location. You see the big beautiful bed is going through, and there's heaps of oil. Yeah, I'm talking about this area at the end of the canyon. We have water nearby, no, not that nearby. There shall be a little lake. That's an interesting one, this lake, because there's not much of a lake. I think it's pretty much bugged. Yeah, I had been some spiders here on top. Had a bit of fun. That is the lake that shall be there, if you look on the map. And that lake has some geysers. Okay. But beyond that, it looks pretty much dry. Very dry for a lake. A few little friends in between. Gotta smack a few. Come on, mate. There you go. Yummy mushroom. And now listen. No. Do you hear the water? Yeah. Walking there again. Yeah, it's the sound of me walking through water. And there's no water at all. I think there's a water surface missing. Yeah, here not anymore. So it's just that area next to the geysers. Here shall be water by the sound. And the funny thing is, let's try to place water extraction. Mostly it doesn't work, but if I move very carefully here, see some blue in between. Here I could place it. Yeah, I don't mind that there's no water actively displayed, because there are other water alternatives around. There is even, I think, a water geyser which could be used by fracking, but I don't have that yet. So I'm looking forward to the water source of that nice waterfall there. That shouts milk me, and I shall do so. Yeah, on the way up there are a few yum power slugs. Can't say no to that. And you notice how awesome it is to fly around with biofuel. That is really good. Absolutely my favorite fuel for exploring. Let's go up. Usually on top there's a bit of nasty stuff. Let's have a look. There is the first one. Hello. And behind I see or saw already a Mercer sphere. Yep, that's a gunner. Hello, Mercer sphere. How's the weather today? Okay.
This is a try to windows and weaving.
Yeah, I find the sound always interesting. There is definitely an alien intelligence on the planet. And we happily do not even care at all. Because as a typical human we are focused on greed and process. So factory building with no care of the costs for the greater environment. Kaboom. Get rid of these guys. I still hope we get a DLC at some point. Oh, that's a nice guy. I still hope we get a DLC at one point in time where we get a chance to cooperate with the local intelligence for getting a few more technologies which may help us to follow Ada into the skies and get a bit more of the nice, sarcastic, ironic background story, which I honestly enjoy quite a lot. Because that's what it should be, just a background story. The main focus of the game is on building. No, is he done? He's still active. Come on, guy. Ah, miss. Dumpty dumpty dum. Now. Yep, he dropped. Yeah, it's a gunner, just in case. Yeah, nothing moves no more. He's very active. Okay, now at this lake, I'm planting a few water extractors. I really don't care about the guys here. It's of no interest. I have better sources for energy. And then pipes downhill. Whoop. Looks always a bit very industrial when there are multiple pipes next to each other. Yeah, at this stage I really asked myself, do I really need that much water? I can tell you later on it turned out, yes, I do. And here's a big space in front of us where I really want to have that plant. So much space. But the tricky bit then is, you see the oil there below the road. How do I get all that production from the plant to the road? So I may have to build a special building just for loading the production onto the road. That's the first basic layout. Give me the oil, lots of refineries, which I then have to connect. And you see in the background already, I connected to a building, which could be then the loading station on the road. Awesome thing below, as always. So if stuff comes back on the road, it gets removed. Otherwise, tractors would be overloaded with the same product. That would be semi-beneficial. And yeah, here at the moment, it's plastic, the conventional one. I'm not sure if that is sufficient output from the oil. And since I had collected quite a few of hard drives, I'm looking for alternative recipes. And there is one that looks interesting, which gives me oil. Which consumes crude oil and gives me polymer resin. And the standard oil. Heavy oil, which then can be used to create some fuel. So really the fuel production of this location is not much of my interest. I'm interested here really in getting plastic and rubber out of this, so therefore having a high amount of polymer resin, which then can be transformed into plastic and rubber. That's my main interest here. So I'm changing the recipe to the new alternative one. Yeah, fuel it shall become later on. I want to go for the alternative Polymer Resin. And that's quite a bit. See how many come out there per minute? 130, oh my god. Which turns then out, by the way, to be a bit tricky on the conveyor belt, because that output needs to be handled. So I had to work on a few more enhancements. You see here in the foreground the black ones transforming the oil into polymer resin and heavy oil. On the left I started with refineries for rubber, and the blue ones are refineries for plastic. I changed on the left that mix later on. And the yellow ones is then just standard fuel, and I need to place a few more oil generators to burn the stuff, so that the whole production line is running. And the trickiest bit now is to get it balanced. The concept is the easy part, and balance not only regards how many do I need of what, which can be fine-tuned very easily with lots of power slugs. The most trickiest bit was actually how do I set up the flow of polymer resin, because that became so much that I needed some parallel lines to ensure that it reaches everything properly. This one got it all, but here you see already I split the line below with overflow managed in the direction of the awesome sink to ensure that the maximum really reaches the refineries. Yeah, so smart splitters are really a friend here, helping with the directions and the overall flow of the resin. And you see it becomes way less here at the moment, yeah, quite a bit. But I can tell you later on, when everything's really running, it's, yeah, that's more about some normal amount. It's still quite a bit of overproduction. So with all the fine-tuning, I then have a view like this. See, not so many oil generators needed here to get rid of the petrol, because really plastic and rubber is my priority. And the final job is not looking too shabby. The windmills, by the way, are from the refined power mud. And there in the valley, again with the UpSideDown mod, the surface to make it match a bit more to the environment, we have our plastic and rubber production. I could not resist to place something on the guys here on the right. Yeah, in this case really, so it solved my problem to separate the main production building from the loading building on the road, which is in the background, because the building itself is too far away from the road, so I have to have an extra building for the loading and unloading procedure. That worked very well. I can tell you already that I ran into dramas with the tractors, which I fixed later on. You've seen maybe in the last video with a specific mod, and reduced the amount of tractors, and that actually then worked, giving me a better flow. Sometimes less is more, even if it comes to tractors. Here's one guy going to the unloading station. Quite a lot of plastic and rubber coming out of this. And that works pretty good. Yeah, I'm not so sure about the aesthetics of the incoming water, but so what, it works. Yeah, this time I decided to keep the building attached to the ground. No need to put on columns. I had used the 4-meter foundations for the bottom surface of the building. Just put a facade around that too. And aesthetically, very industrial, flat-lined, pragmatic build style. Little color line helps and different kind of windows. Cheers and goodbye.